Welcome to Magic City Spotlight. This is a takeover. I'm Darius McClure, here with my co-host, the incredible, the incomparable, DeWanda Thompson. How you feeling today?
Listen, this is the place to be because anytime I get to be right here with you,
What?
I'm in the right place at the right time.
I'm sitting amongst greatness, but it's a takeover. We got a special guest, to my left right here, formerly known as Mayor Bay.
Formally.
Formerly known.
Because baby, Kendra ain't playing.
Because now he's husband.
And I love that.
With
I love
missing
that.
hoodies.
Right.
With missing hoodies.
Definitely missing hoodies.
The incomparable Mayor Randall Whiffen. How you doing today, sir?
Good, my brother. Good. Glad to be with y'all. Magic City Spotlight. We in here.
So this is a special edition.
Yeah.
We're about to talk leadership.
Yes, sir.
And so before we go into leadership, I want to do a quick icebreaker. All right? Are you ready to take a deep breath?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
All right.
Ready.
All right. Give me your favorite fictional leader.
Favorite fictional leader.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how you answer this because one of the things I love about you just as a leader is how aligned you are with pop culture and how you're able to actually navigate that into your leadership style, which I think when we talk about leadership later, that's a skill, that's a talent. But so I can't imagine what's going to come out of your mouth right now.
So I'm torn.
Okay.
It's just like I'm torn.
Okay.
So top first place, thinking about this, you gave me a chance to think about it, so thank you for that.
Got your back.
It's easily Joe Clark.
Okay. Put the chains on the doors.
Well, he's not fiction. That was a real person.
I'm sorry, the Morgan Freeman Joe Clark.
Okay. Right.
I never met.
The real.
Right.
Yes.
I got another fictional.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can describe this one. William Wallace, Braveheart.
Ah.
So if you've never seen Braveheart,
Oh my goodness. That's one of my
It's
my
an
goodness.
incredible movie.
yeah. So it is for me. It's a love story.
This becoming top tier leadership.
Yeah, but William Wallace, literally created and led a movement based on somebody snatching, taking, killing his wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And so he did that. Yeah, in the name of country, but he also did it in the name of love. A broken heart.
Yeah.
And the movement he created with no fear, literally no fear. The strategy on the battlefield, and then willing to, even in capture, not surrender. Freedom to death.
Freedom.
I think I'm about to binge watch Braveheart as soon as I leave
So good.
from here today.
The soundtrack.
Gladiator.
I mean, that's just like if you're gonna do that, just go ahead and go to Gladiator.
Yes.
So good.
The first 300,
Yeah,
the
so
second one
good.
was,
Yeah.
whatever.
These are facts.
But these are all like,
So let me jump in with my favorite fictional.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
please.
We got to talk about the greatest superhero of all times. Are y'all ready?
Ready.
Blank Man.
I'm,
Give me Blank Man. Give me Blank Man as the greatest superhero of all times. He used what he had.
Damon Wayne
Right?
played the part very
Right. He made a lot happen with a little bit.
So
and
good.
then he mastered technology. J5. J5.
is this what we finna do today?
J5?
Because between the two of y'all already, I'm like,
J5 was needed when he was
Yes.
in that water tank.
Yes.
About to drown.
Yes.
I honestly cannot right now.
You don't like Blank Man? Greatest superhero
This is
of
where
all
you
time.
went. The blank man. Okay.
He saved the whole city.
I'm not even answering this question. We gotta move past because there's nothing to follow up.
Now here's another thing. Here's another thing, man. Here's another thing. He dated someone that was a residence professor at Miles College.
Hey,
Robin Givens.
That's true.
So we got to give it up for Blake.
it up.
He got Birmingham ties.
Listen.
Blake man it is.
Well,
Yes, it
then, I mean, for the win.
Let me go fly right quick.
What about you? Fictional leader.
So the thing is, when I thought about, or when I think about this, like, I'm like, you know me, through and through. I'm black through and through. So I'm like, I'm going Boondocks Huey, like,
A word.
whether you like it or not. like literally the most unapologetic.
No
but then when you think about who was voicing him,
Wow.
right? You think about Regina King. Like, so she's,
No filter, no
That's
tape.
classic right there.
right? Like that's who, and I like that. He could say stuff I could never say.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for that. It's I'm like, ooh, like the people who post stuff on social media that you can never post, and you like, yes, Go, say it,
Thank you
do
for
it.
saying what
Right,
I
thank you
feel.
for, right.
Yeah.
I felt like that was who he was for me. And then I really, truly, now this is like fictional leader, right? You got to give it up for Whitley Gilbert. Like,
A different world?
a different world,
Different world.
right? What do I love about Whitley? Whitley shows us that it is okay to be black and bougie. It is okay to figure it out. Like, you know, like,
Now let me ask you this question. Let me because there's two types of people.
it is.
All right. It's people who agreed with Dwayne breaking up that web. And there's other people who disagree. Where do you fall on the side of this?
I'm glad he didn't ask me that.
Man, that waiter was never gonna happen. Let's be honest about what it is. It was never going
I know
to
you were about to
happen.
say it.
Like, let's not. We're not gonna be politically correct in that. It was never gonna. We love Byron. We love all of that. Byron, you know, but we not. It was never gonna happen.
Well, let's talk leadership.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's talk leadership because if you're watching right now, no matter where you're watching from, we don't want to limit leadership to
That's
just
true.
being in position in an organization.
Absolutely.
There's a mom that's leading her home.
Absolutely.
You know, and so
Yeah.
we're all leading someone somewhere in some capacity. But my first question I want to jump off with is, at what point did you decide you wanted to be a leader?
I'm not, honestly, not necessarily sure
Yeah.
when I wanted to be a leader. That's different than when I knew I wanted to be mayor.
Yeah.
I knew that at age 21, a rising senior, 2002 at Morehouse College. But I will tell you, as a child, watching my mother literally bring in the extended family members who needed help, and those who coming out of prison. My great grandmother, who was sick, but ended up living with us for 8 years. Uncles or aunts who had been strung out, so bringing in their children, my cousins. Another family member died and bringing in their children. And so this house, this one house, all these people under one roof.
Yeah.
Our house was a safe haven for our extended family.
Oh, wow.
No judgment,
Yeah.
regardless of the circumstance. Acceptance, understanding. And watching my mother do that, I didn't know at the time, but as an adult reflecting back, I think watching that, by the time I was 15 and got my first job, I understood what it meant to be a leader and take care of people, and serve and help and not judge and be available and be present.
Wow.
I knew that was very clear to me as at a minimum 15 years of age.
It's crazy because I'm thinking about that question. And what I kind of noticed in some of the most effective leaders is like at some point you didn't choose leadership, but leadership chose you.
It's exactly what I was going to say, is that I don't know any leader that would say that they just woke up and decided to be a leader. Now, they decided to move with purpose at some point, but being a leader was sort of either ingrained in the way they experienced life. It was something that they saw. They were doing something and someone told them that they were a leader because they recognized it in their life. But I don't know that I ever woke up and was like, I want to be, I'm going to be a leader. I think I've woke up plenty of days, as a young person thinking, how can I change something?
Right.
How can I help somebody? And until you're taught, and I do think leadership has to be refined.
Right.
So I think until you're taught what leadership is, it's those core values that show up early. Like it's, I want to help people. I want to fix things. I want to make something better. Right. I want to take care of folk, right? And that's, especially when you're talking to young people, leadership may be this heavy, like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. Do you care about people? Do you want to fix things?
Right.
Do you want to see a difference?
Right.
You want to take care of your family?
Right.
All of those kinds of things. If they can identify that in themselves, it's our job then, and our community job and our elders' job to then put a name on it, which is leadership.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what's crazy? I'm sitting here between both of y'all, and I'm thinking about some of the obstacles I've watched you personally kind of navigate through in leadership. Number one, I'm thinking about when you ran for mayor and became mayor, of how it was so countercultural Birmingham because of how young you were.
Right.
Most of the mayors were owned. And here you are, an African-American female, and for the most part, a male patriarchy industry. How have you guys navigated through being almost what you would consider outcasts and blazing trails and being authentic to who you are as a leader?
Yeah, so, I remember, I said I got my first job. I started working at 15, but something else happened when I was 15 years old. We had a youth ministry at my church, and I will never forget, Pastor Porter said, we're going to create some additional things under our youth ministry. So he created a liturgical dance team, and then he created a step team.
I thought you was about to say you should have
No, bro. Don't be choosing violence on this radio.
Okay, we listen. All right, step. We go focus.
So on this, my sister was on the liturgical dance team.
Please, tell me about this team.
I was on the step team.
Okay.
And the step team was so cool. Oh yeah. But yeah, legit, we were stepping, but the chants were all about Jesus and God and our relationship with faith and church.
Right.
It's pretty powerful as we were kids.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
But there were teenagers older than me, 16, 17, 18 years old on the step team as well. And the inaugural step team, I was chosen to be the step leader. I'm 15. Wow. Majority of those steppers were older. And I'm like, yo, I didn't know why I was chosen. I don't remember asking to be chosen, but I was chosen to lead it. And so leading at a young age is just something that I've always done. It's something that's been consistent. And so by the time I was 36, running for mayor, people telling me, it's not your turn, wait, you're too young, you can't do it, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Hey man, people have been telling me that all my life. Wow. So whatever.
Wow. So talk to the young women, older women, middle-aged women out there who may feel trapped, in some of the stereotypes of trying to advance in leadership, and what has your journey looked like when it comes to breaking those barriers.
I really do believe everything starts with a community of people who tell you it's possible. So while it may not have seemed possible in the space I was trying to matriculate in, my mama never told me I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah.
My dad never told me it wasn't possible. Nobody that knew me and that I valued their opinion or I valued their experience, no one ever told me that this thing is impossible. And my mom and dad will tell you that they didn't even understand half of the stuff I was trying to do, right? Like, well, I remember I remember the day I called my parents. I was working at the city of Birmingham, and to be honest, I was a little bit frustrated because I felt like I had hit the ceiling of what was available to me in the role that I was currently playing. And I remember I had prayed and I said, look, I just need to see something different than what I'm seeing right now. I kid you not, that was like on a Wednesday. On Thursday, I am sitting on the third floor of the city hall. I'm looking out the window, and I get a phone call, and it is from a colleague of mine who said, hey, I know you heard this dude named Barack Obama is running for president. Senator Barack Obama. I was like, yeah, I'm down. They were like, we need organizers to go to North Carolina. This is in the primaries of his first election.
Wow.
And we think you would be excellent to come in and like organize whole counties around this vote. And I was like, I had never done anything like that, but it was a challenge and I was intrigued. And so two things I did, I was like, I don't think the city council will let me go, because I was working with the city council. Wow. And at the time, Carol Smitherman was president. And this speaks to when we talk about leadership and people, whether you believe you can make it or not. I called her and I said, Ms. Smitherman, Councilor Smitherman, I know that this is out of the box, but I have this opportunity to go and do this really incredible thing. I believe it will build my leadership. I believe it will expose me. I believe I'll be able to take, which I've done. I've always taken every opportunity and to come back and figure out how to do it here, right? I need to see this thing. And she said, oh, we're doing that. She didn't.
Wow.
And to their credit, that we had some councils over the years, and y'all know that they can, they sometimes be on the same side, they sometimes don't. Not one single counselor gave me any grief. They all said, "Whoa, this is a
That's a big deal in the era of city council.
You're not gonna let her glaze over what she's telling.
Okay, right.
If nobody's hearing what she's
made
saying,
history.
she literally, Wanda Thompson made history. Everybody.
Yes.
Okay, as a Barack Obama alumni, she was integral in getting him elected. I'm not gonna let nobody just.
I appreciate that.
We're gonna say that out loud.
Absolutely.
But I think that the important part is that I had no idea what I was going to do. Somebody saw my ability and said, "You can come and do this thing, and we'll give you the tools once you get here." But there's leadership in, because I was automatically managing 100 people off rip, right, in a city I've never even been to, right, in Charlotte at the time, in Mecklenburg County, Anson County. The second call I made though was to my mom and dad, and I said, "Yeah, I've got this opportunity." I said, "I'm a little nervous to even ask." My dad said, "No." You asked this question, this is a God thing. Like you, and so again, I never met when I called the people that I knew were in my, that I needed, they never said to me no. So that way, when I heard other people knows, I know you don't know me. Because if you knew me, you wouldn't tell me no.
Right.
You wouldn't stifle me, because those who know me know that I have the ability to do and perform. So that no that I might get is just a reflection of them not knowing who I am. Right.
That's amazing. So I hear you talk about your mom. I hear you talk about your parents and some mentors. Really quick, who are some leaders in your life that inspired you, close, and some that you might have admired from a distance? Yeah.
So definitely easy. My mom. There's a guy named Dale Smith. He gave me my first job. He taught me a lot about the soft skills of what it means to be an employee for anybody. Not just bagging groceries, not just engaging customers, but all the soft skills you need in engaging everyday people you're trying to help and serve.
Yeah.
I've carried those lessons with me literally into being mayor. Easily Reverend Porter, man, in the pulpit. But outside the pulpit at church, I looked up to Reverend Porter. He baptized me. But I would tell you somebody, and I never get a chance to talk about it, but the memory is like, it's stitched here in my head. I was 11 years old, 6th grade, and we had a school assembly, and the speaker was Larry Lincoln.
Doc, I'm sorry, that was one of mine.
Yo.
That was one of mine.
Yo.
That was one of
You still
mine.
got to share your story, though. Everybody got to share their Larry Lincoln story.
Oh my goodness.
We are in the gym.
Come on.
He's behind the podium, and he has a bag on the podium. Y'all, he pulls out a gun.
I can believe it.
And he goes on to tell us why we shouldn't use this and what this weapon means and how it should be used versus how it shouldn't be used. And of all the assemblies I've ever had, elementary, middle, high school, that's the one I'll never forget. What he poured into us, those brief moments.
Yeah.
Including giving another kid a $100 bill.
Hey. It's
But-
stick in my mind.
Man, he captivated me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a mayor was at 11 years old.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about Richard Arrington at the time. I mean, this is 1992.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget Larry Lincoln. Never forget it. 11 years old.
What's your Larry Langford story?
So I have two. Number one, I remember being a kid. This hospital isn't open anymore. Y'all probably went there. Lloyd Nolan.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. West.
So I'm leaving Lloyd Nolan, and I meet Mayor Langford as we're leaving out. And for whatever reason, it's like he just was different from anybody I had ever met in my life.
He was.
Fast forward, I go to play football at Florida State, messed up my leg my senior year. I am incredibly depressed because I thought I would be playing professionally.
Yeah.
I had to come back home, and I had an uncle take me to Mayor Larry Langford's house. And I'm sitting there with him, and he was like, "All right, we're proud of everything you did. I'm going to make sure you're good." And he was looking at putting me somewhere in a role with his administration. And then after that, some things turned, and it didn't work out. But for him to open up his arms in one of the lowest moments of my life, and to see, I was literally with him when he broke ground for Uptown.
Oh, yeah.
Uptown Birmingham. I would literally roll with him when he broke ground for that. And so that's just one of the leadership icons in my life outside of Walt Disney, because I had to write a dissertation on him in in college. And I began to learn on how he created Disney World, but the ultimate vision was Epcot.
Yeah.
And so Walt Disney has always kind of impacted me as a visionary.
What a luxury.
And I love that story about Larry Langford because I didn't even know that. And I feel like I've known you forever. I had no idea about that. I got the opportunity to be still working at the city when Larry Langford was actually mayor of the city of Birmingham. And if you know anything about Mayor Bernard Kincaid and anything about Mayor Bell and anything about our current mayor, very different leadership styles.
Every single one.
Very different leadership styles. So to go from what I would say is a very conservative, very stable, very not shaking not shaking nothing up leadership with Mayor Kincaid, respected for sure, but not necessarily considered a risk taker, right? To go literally in 24 hours. Because the second they told Larry Langford he was there, yo, it was a different city in 24 hours. Like, stuff was being ripped off the wall.
It was different.
The doors was being opened up. Like, the energy changed dramatically. And I'm like, that man could change energy, right? Like, he could change whole. And I just sat there like, oh, it's about to be. I'm like, I'm going to just hold on for a second.
Right.
We going to do something. Like this and that. So let's do something. And he really had, I think, just this really interesting and very strategic way of, yes, these may be big things, but they don't have to be. Like, I remember him saying, it don't take all of that to do some of this, right? Let's just start. Let's just do. And while, again, things may not have necessarily turned out all of the ways in which he desired it to, I appreciated him being the visionary that he was, because we are still benefiting from those visions. And you need visionaries, right?
Finish what he started. The stadium.
The stadium. Look, so I'm just like, but I'm telling y'all, the literal walls were a different color. In 24 hours, it went from being like white walls to red. We walked back in like, oh, did we even work here anymore? Like, it was just like, and so I mean, it was a new day.
Yeah.
And for whether you liked it or not, you knew that the time had changed. And I love that.
We could literally have a whole episode on the impact and legacy of Mayor Larry Langford.
Yep.
But we're about to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. This is Leadership, the Magic City Spotlight Takeover. I'm Darius McClure with the co-host, the incredible,
The one that's out there.
and the guest host.
The guest, everybody.
Check out this commercial. We'll be right back. All right, we're back for part 2 of the Magic City Spotlight, special edition on leadership. I'm Darius McClure, spiritual leader and coach, here with the incredible CEO and president of the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, DeWanda Thompson, and we're here with the guest host, formerly known as Mayor Bay.
I love how you reiterate this.
Formerly known as
Listen,
Mayor Bay. Now he's husband to the incredible Kendra Woodfin.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to you, best mayor ever.
Appreciate you, brother.
Man, you have done an incredible job.
Thank you.
Here's what I'm blessed on. I think you won the whole city when you said for all 99 neighborhoods.
yes,
Sir.
I've never heard anybody up until that point let us know how many neighborhoods we had in the city.
really?
Yeah,
And so, like, that
it was
impressive.
intentional.
No, I think
Yeah,
centering
it was an intentional. I think we govern the entire city.
Mhm.
And the city, my belief is, I'm very keen on the belief that the city of Birmingham can only be as strong as its lowest quality Black neighborhood.
Right.
Can you say that again, please?
The city of Birmingham can only be as strong as its lowest quality Black neighborhood. And so we focus on the entire city,
Yeah.
and each neighborhood needs love. There are a lot of neighborhoods that have been forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of people abandoned Birmingham. It wasn't just white flight, but it was all forms of flight.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sticking with the people that are here, the residents who need help, assistance, safety, guidance, healthy food options,
Mhm.
Yeah.
sidewalks,
Yeah.
more streets paved, more quality parks. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
That's why I talk about the neighborhoods, because I saw it with my own eyes when I
Yeah.
walked across the entire city. Engaging residents, asking them to vote for me, but more than asking that, I listened to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I have a personal definition for leadership that I feel like can kind of guide the conversation with something with the city and then the Civil Rights Institute. I personally like to define leadership as someone who has the ability to take someone somewhere that they could not get to by themselves.
I like that.
And so thinking about the 99 neighborhoods and where they were before you took the office of mayor and where they are now, how you feeling? What are you seeing?
Well, yeah. So
What's the progress?
yeah, and that is the word. The key word is progress.
Okay.
All right. I came into office in 17, the end of 17. So technically 6 years this past November. But in 6 years, I have to share with people the progress.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about the grandmother on the porch, steps out onto her porch and looks to her right, the abandoned house. To her left, the overgrown empty lot.
Wow.
In front of her, the buckling sidewalk where her child or grandchild can't even ride their bike on it. And when she pulls out of her driveway, the street to drive down. I talk about the neighborhood park that she wanted to walk her child or grandchild to. And it's getting dark, it's time to come back home, but the street light doesn't work. So we got to get home before it sunsets. And when she gets home, she realizes she doesn't have healthy food options in proximity to her. Oh, and when it's time for them to lay down, unfortunately, they hear gunshots. Right? So seeing that, all right, that's not just some image I've just described. That was a lot for a lot of people in 2017. So the progress is we've removed so much blight, millions of dollars of blight removal.
Sure.
We continue to invest in our land bank and partner with developers to go vertical with more single family homes, as well as
You said to go vertical?
more, like literally build more homes on these empty lots. So we've been doing that in Bellevue Heights, we've been doing that in Woodlawn, we've been doing that in East Lake and Wyoming, and we'll continue to spread that out across the city because of that, all of that blight that existed. But we're also investing in infrastructure, right? So we paved over $60 million worth of streets, investing more in sidewalks, investing more in our parks, partnering with Alabama Power to do more LED lights, bringing more healthy food options to the community, including 5 Points West with that one Dixie. Wow. These are things, and it's just a start. To be very clear, it's not enough.
Yeah.
But there is progress. And 99 neighborhoods, that's a lot. It's not a small number. And it's when you think 40 years of disinvestment, when you think 40 years of streets not being paved, when you think 40 years of blight being created, you can't get rid of that in 4 years. Can't get rid of that in 6 years.
Yeah.
But you can chip away at it very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
Very aggressive.
You've done an incredible job. Like if you drive through downtown, uptown, it's a completely different city at this point.
Yeah.
Compared to where it was before.
And so that people need to know it's all attached, right? That we collect taxes based off sales taxes. So we have to generate taxes to provide services for our residents. So when people see us investing in the stadium and the football, think long term that sports and entertainment draw attraction people to our city.
Wow.
People spend money in our city. We collect taxes.
Gotcha.
Take those taxes and invest in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
Oh wow.
Sorry.
So talk to us, help us to understand where the Civil Rights Institute, Birmingham Civil Rights Institute was before you took the leadership helm and where it is now and where is it going and why is it important, for us as citizens here in Birmingham to support and be a part of what's happening here?
I think it's an incredibly important question to answer because you have to first look at why is it here in the first place?
All right.
Right?
Wow.
And it's here because a historic set of events happened in this city that shifted the dynamic of this entire country and impacted social movements for social justice all over the world.
Wow.
The problem, though, with that is, with every year that passes, people forget, or people will say something happened that didn't happen, or they'll say, we don't remember it that way. And you had leaders like Mayor Richard Arrington and David Vann and Odessa Woolfolk and Barb Corley and others who said, and quite frankly, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who said, they're gonna remember. Like, let us not ever forget what happened in Birmingham. But the only way to do that is to create a space, to cultivate a space where that narrative, that actual history, those artifacts, those oral histories, those stories are preserved in excellence and intentionally done so. And so the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute was birthed with the idea that we own this story. This we and we own it through our blood, we own it through our action, we own it through the way we've paved the way, we earned it. And so we have a responsibility to make sure it's here. We also understand that learning from those strategies of what happened and learning from, okay, so exactly why did 5,000 children march out of their schools down here to Kelly Ingram Park? Who led that and why? And what teachers were still there who still exist, who are still here right now? There's a reason to learn those things because it spurs opportunity and action and leadership now. The reason why there's such an attack on taking our history out of schools is because when you learn your power, when you learn about your ancestors and you learn about the strategies around how they got free and how they stayed free, that empowers you very differently. And so this whole effort to take away, this whole conversation around critical race theory, this whole conversation around diluting diversity, equity, and inclusion, all of that really is a power play, right? It's a power play. And so places like the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, think about it, 30 years ago, there was a decision made that said, something's going to happen at some point where they're not going to want to tell this story, and we need to have our own stuff. We're sitting 30 years later in the embodiment of that, and my job right now is to say, now, in 2 years, two years from now, somebody's not going to tell the story, and we've got to protect it, right? We're seeing it right now. And so it is incredibly important for me to be situated at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute in this moment because we get to think like Odessa Woolfolk, and we get to think like Richard Aronson and Horace Huntley and all the others who came together right now to say, what do we want the story? How do we preserve this for the next 30 years? And what are the conversations that we need to be having with our young people right now so that they know, number one, their power. They know that they have the opportunity to shift the agenda with their words, with their actions. What do we need to invest in them? All of that happens here at the Institute. I think the other thing that makes the Institute very important is that tourism, we talk about tourism and tourism dollars. Absolutely. Tourism is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, right? And as much as people may not want to always see the Institute as an economic partner, because I think sometimes when people think places like the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, they think, oh, I'm going there. It's this is our personal history. This is, I'm coming to feel something. It's like, no, we're also a business, and we're the business of telling the truth about what happened in the city.
Say that again.
We're a business, and we're the business of telling the truth about what happened in the city.
Tweet
right? And so there is the cost to do business, but to the point of just like all the things that are happening around Birmingham becoming an incredible innovation hub, all the things around Birmingham looking at, we've been a medical wonder facility, we're a medical marvel. We've been all these things. The tourism community is really being undergirded right now by spaces like the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And because people are understanding more and more that when people move to a city, when corporations are coming in, they want to know who you are.
Right.
They want to know what you value. What are your stories? And places like these are the most, so they believe that we are doing that with integrity, right? And so we provide a service to the city, to the county, to the state, and I would say to the region that spurs economic opportunity. And so that's why the Institute is still important.
When we arrived here, I know one of the first things Mayor Wolfen admired was this library. So the upgrades here. He really loves the aesthetic of what you've done here. So you did an incredible job.
Thank you.
So we're about to slide it almost into a leadership masterclass for our listeners. and those who may be tuning in live right now.
Yeah.
So talk to some leaders right now, because a leader is only good as their team.
That's correct.
Right? So talk about the importance of team building and some of the keys to building an effective team.
You want to go first?
It's a masterclass. No pressure.
Man, I think, well, first of all, I want to say that's one of the things that I think that Mirwith, and I'm about to call him Randall Lord, known him so long, but that you have done incredibly well.
Yeah, really have.
And I
Dream team.
And I think that it's in building a team, it's not just amassing bodies, right? It's not even just about amassing talent. It's about connecting with people who connect with the vision.
Correct.
Because when you're not there, they need to be able to operate and move with the same set of, with the same goals, and they need to have the same set of commitment to that. So when I look to build teams, or when I've been a part of teams that I feel like are dynamic, everyone understands the vision, and then everybody understands how their part actually brings that vision into reality. And I think when you have teams where people don't understand how their role fits into creating the bottom line, or how their role, moves the vision forward, that's when you see weaker teams, because they're like, where's my part in it?
Yeah.
How do I find my space in it? But when people are clearly defined, and their roles are clearly defined, whether they are in this building, for instance, at the Institute, we can't do this work without volunteers. Right? We literally cannot even be open every day without volunteers. So, right. I'm sure it's the same thing in the church. It's the same thing even in the city, to be quite frank.
Absolutely.
Our neighborhood leaders and things, and things other ways. So when you think about that, though,
So wait a minute. We have to pause right there.
Yeah.
So are there volunteer opportunities that our listeners
everything
can learn about, on how they can be a part of helping, the civil rights institute?
Every single day, we are run by volunteers who welcome people into our space, take them on tours throughout the building. They are the ones that they don't always, half of the time, nobody ever sees me, right? I'm in the back trying to figure out how to get the money, how to keep us where we're going. Who they see, though, are those people from their community.
How do they sign up?
They can come right to the website, www.bcri.org. There's a whole page on volunteerism. We also have internships for our students. We have a legacy program that teaches young people how to actually become docents, all these things. And you can become an adult docent as well, which is learning what's in the galleries and the stories that are in there, so then you can then share that with someone else. But I think this conversation around our volunteers need to feel just as empowered as those who are working here every single day and making a check.
Absolutely.
Because they're responsible for something that's really precious, and that is the experience of the person who comes through the door. Same thing at the church.
Absolutely.
Right? Same thing with the city of Birmingham. Absolutely. The first person the half of people will never get a chance to meet the mayor. They might not always get a chance to sit down with Rev, right? But they'll probably talk.
Shout out to PMJ.
So shout out to PMJ always. But they'll get a chance to talk to the usher.
Absolutely.
They'll get a chance to talk to someone in your office, right? And so we have to make sure that those who are on our team feel inspired enough in what they're doing to realize that they're a part of the bigger mission.
Wow. It's one of my favorite sayings. You don't go as far as your dream, you only go as far as your team.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I don't believe I've seen it over and over. It's hard to arrive at the right place holding on to the wrong people.
Oops.
Don't need to say that again.
Say that again.
It's hard to arrive
me finna write it down.
at the right place while holding on to the wrong people. And so for me, I think one of the unique parts of me being here is you're senior leader in the number one seat. You're senior leader in the number one seat. I serve in the secondary leadership role. And I feel like most people or most leaders are struggling because we're living in a self-centered society that's trying to push everyone to be the leader.
Come on.
When everyone can be a leader.
That's right.
And so for me, I realized that sometimes we have to learn how to embrace having a larger soul to embrace a lesser role to accomplish a greater goal. I love being connected to something that is way bigger than me.
Absolutely.
And so, and when you do that, and you guys probably tell your leaders and your staff this all the time, you can't be married to the seat on the bus, be married to the bus. because you, as the senior leader, you might have to move me around sometimes, and I can't be married to the seat. Right. And so, talk to us, Mayor Woodfin, on some of the hard places of leading a team when you had to make some adjustments and kind of rock the boat a little bit.
So first of all, the way you set that up, oh man, you made me think of Jim Collins' Good to Great. He gives his whole bus analogy,
right,
about who should be on the bus, what seat they should be in. So that's very critical.
One of my favorite books.
Yeah. So I think in my world, it's not much more I can add to what you both have dropped, which are like just bars from bars. I think the first thing for me as a leader, I actually believe in teamwork.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. If you want to be a successful leader, you have to believe in teamwork, because you have to embrace the notion that if you have a compelling vision, you will never be able to accomplish it all. Yeah. You'll never be able to be successful being an island.
Yeah.
And so teamwork is extremely important, embracing the notion of teamwork. And once you accept, embrace, and commit to teamwork, things get smoother. It doesn't mean it won't be hard sometimes, but it definitely gets smoother. With that being said, what I believe is that the people around me and the people around the best leaders should be smarter than their leaders. Okay, I am very.
Please say that again, man. You got to be a secure leader. Come on, man.
The best leaders should surround themselves with people who are smarter and more capable, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Because the way teamwork, if you do it right and you get people who are very smart, you get people that are very capable, then the vision becomes tangible, right? Because you're building something. And in a lot of cases, like city government, nobody gives you a playbook and say, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
So you have to build the plane and fly it at the exact same time. Well, that is going to require some pretty capable, smart people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me define smart. I'm not just talking book smart.
Right.
I'm talking about the soft skill, resourceful, the ability to execute on things, the ability to build things themselves, the ability for people to come to me with recommendations and be like, go.
Right.
I'm not trying to hold any leaders back. So I want to be surrounded by leaders.
Yeah.
I don't want to be surrounded by yes people. That is very dangerous.
Agreed.
Let me repeat that. Being surrounded by yes people is extremely dangerous. Don't do it. Do not do it. But I think the other...
Do not recommend.
Yeah. The other thing is, in leadership, I don't care if you are a GM of a basketball, an NBA team, or you're DeWanda Thomas as CEO, president of the BCRI. You have immediate needs where you are focused on the trees, and you got to have people who are good at the game of whack-a-mole and able to just anything that pop up, knock it down and execute on it and get it solved. But then you also got to have people who see the forest and the big picture of what's around the corner and are strategic and have a big brain and never come down and touch the ground. They only are looking up around what's tomorrow, what's next week, what's next month, what's next year, what's 5-10 years from now.
Yes.
When you put that type of team together, the forest and the trees, around a compelling vision,
I love that.
There's nothing you can't do.
I love that.
It's literally nothing you can't do.
Wow. I've been taking notes during this leadership masterclass in part 2. All right, so DeWanda, you said you kind of spoke to vision clarity, and you also spoke to role clarity, and you just gave us a masterclass on teamwork.
Yeah.
On how it's not just enough to accept teamwork. We got to embrace it, and we got to commit to it. All right?
Absolutely.
So talk to us on some of the biggest challenges that we face when it comes to leading teams, and how do we overcome them?
Yeah, so I think when you are the CEO or leader, everybody wants to touch you. Everybody wants to be in proximity.
Not me about to shout.
Right. But the enterprise is so big, you kind of got to delegate. It's important to delegate, and it's important that if every team member gets to you, then you never have time to think.
Wow.
You never have time to see the big picture.
My goodness.
You never get a chance to see what's around the corner. So your immediate leadership team under you has to be in a position to guard for you, protect, defend, execute on your vision. And they got to have people to feed up to that.
Yeah.
I would say another possible barrier is when you do have a lot of capable, smart people, They're very ambitious. Nothing wrong with that in isolation. But the ambition needs to be tied to purpose.
Yeah.
That part.
And if the ambition is tied to purpose and they bought into your vision, then you know the following. This is where I'm gonna leave the rest of you.
You talking heavy though.
When you bring on really, really good people, and I imagine this is for the church and for BCRI, you know these folks, their talent is so big, they're probably only going to be with you for a window.
That's right.
Yes.
Take advantage of
the window.
Yes.
Accept and know they will continue to grow. Yeah. If you stole them, if you recruited them, somebody else is going to do the exact same thing.
Listen.
They're going to do the exact same thing. So be prepared when that moment comes. And the first time it happens to you, it will be very shocked to you because you'll be like, you don't want that team member to go. But you knew when they got here, they wouldn't be there. You just didn't want to accept it.
You are talking.
Listen.
Talk your talk.
Well, and this goes to what I would just say is that, and what that requires then, and where I think we have one of our biggest challenges, particularly in our city, is a radical understanding or thought process around succession planning.
Man,
That's so good.
Right? We just don't have it the way we should, which is why, and that's a whole conversation around power analysis too, because if you think that the only way that you're in power is to stay in the same position for the entire life, you haven't thought through what power is, right?
Absolutely.
So for, like, when you think about the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, we're thinking about that next generation of leaders that we need to invest in. So there's a pipeline of young people who are rooted in the understanding of what happened. They're rooted in their culture. They've got a faith lens. They've got a professional lens. They can understand, like, hey, this is how we tell this story, but this is also how we lead on, tolerance. This is how we lead on being a global citizen. This is how we lead on thinking about being change agents, whether it's in the social space or if it's in the corporate space or any other space. We have to develop the spaces for people to grow into leadership and to lead, and we have to be prepared to get out of the way for them to lead. That's where we see some challenge.
Well, our producers are telling us it's time to wrap it up. We're going to keep talking.
Right.
Tell us what to do. But this is I'm gonna recap this masterclass
Please do.
because they're gonna get this leadership.
Right. Right.
So, Mayor, you talked about the art of delegation, the important form,
So important.
and really spoke to boundaries. You can't be everything to everybody.
correct.
Because if you are, you're not leading people, you're pleasing them.
Correct.
And so we're trying to teach leadership, not people pleasing.
Right.
And then also you spoke to how tying ambition to purpose,
Yes.
so that people aren't just successful, but they're also fulfilled.
Correct.
And feeling a sense of significance.
Absolutely.
And then, DeWanna, you just spoke to succession planning.
That's it.
That a leader that doesn't have a successor really isn't successful.
Yeah.
And so I believe a lot of times we only think of that when the senior leader exits out. But I can remember there were certain organizations that I left with the exit plan.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So that the person behind
me, yeah.
could do even greater than what I did before. And so that's very important. We're wrapping it up. Thank you so much for joining the Magic City Spotlight. How can they get in touch and stay connected with you guys?
Right. Well, you can find me and my team here at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, literally across the street from Kelly Ingram Park and 16th Street Baptist Church. Find us at www.bcri.org. We are Birmingham Civil Rights on all things social. And I'm certainly probably going to be on the street activating for somebody, so you can find me in the streets. Go ahead.
Well, my office hours are 9 to 5.
I know that's
I'm just playing.
Big Red. I hear you.
I'm just playing.
9 to 5.
Right.
No, we're easy to find. BirminghamAL.gov, our social channels. We're easy to find. City Hall. Come. Our doors are always open.
I love it. Join me at the Rock City. TheRockCity.org every Sunday, 9 a.m., 11:30.
Yeah.
And also DariusMcClure.com, where I have a platform called Healing Academy. I help people walk through all type of emotional and mental healing. So excited about that. Thank you guys so much for this incredible opportunity to take over the Magic City Spotlight.
Take it over.
I hope you guys enjoy our talk, this leadership masterclass. We'll see you next time. Take care.